Ooh, and we're live. What's up, everybody? If you're watching this, hopefully you've seen Dune. I've seen it twice already. It's amazing. I honestly think, really, I guess jumping right into it. Dune is like, it's like you're either with it or you aren't, right? So like going into this movie, I've made several videos on it. That's one of the ways that I learn about source material and lore. It's one of the best ways, really. You make a video about the stuff that you're the most interested about, and then you sort of got that down pack, so you have a little bit more going into it. I think this movie does a pretty bang up job of explaining. Hang on a second. Had an issue last time where my audio was silent, so let me make sure that's not the case this time. Last time where my audio was cool. All right, we're good. Shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the movie does a good job of explaining the lore. Kind of just throws you into it, but it starts out explaining like who the Bene Gesserit are, who House Atreides is, what's really the main point and what's happening. I will say that fucking cliffhanger. Like, what the hell? I thought we'd get to see them like sort of acclimated into the Fremen or something, and then it would end with like Paul going, would they yet? You know what I mean? I don't know what that ending was. Fucking crazy. I don't know if people think there's not going to be a part 2, but there definitely is. I know there was some banter online because it obviously hasn't been greenlit, but that there's no way there's not going to be a second one. This movie was fucking amazing. I did see a couple of comments, people saying like, "Oh, you got to see this in IMAX." I didn't think so. I watched a torrent, and then I watched it on HBO Max, and it was fine. It was perfect. I do recommend watching it in 4K if you have a 4K TV or something. But the main reason why I wanted to address that is because when people say, "Oh, you got to watch it in IMAX," usually what comes along with that is like you're not going to enjoy it if you don't watch it. You know what I mean? It's more of a visual thing. No, that's not the case. The dialogue is fucking on point. Obviously Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho was fucking, that was the small little bit of comic relief for this movie. It was insanely serious. I've not seen such little jokes in a movie in a long fucking time. But that's good. That's good. Sometimes you don't need witty banter for, like with Star Wars opening with a fucking your mom joke, right? That's stupid. You don't need that. But yeah, like I will say it's kind of funny within the first 20 minutes of the movie, he said my man or my boy like 4 times. Oh my god, yeah. Every role they write for Jason Momoa was for Jason Momoa. But he's a good actor, so whatever, who gives a shit? It's a nice guy. Seems like he's a nice guy. Something else. Let's see, what did I have here? I'll try to make this like under an hour. Okay, so really to jump into it, well, I'll do a little bit of like a breaking down the fandom a little bit, but if you haven't seen any of my videos, go and watch them now. Just go type in Dune, Sir Hunts. We'll leave it on Channy. So I think the first thing that like, as if I pretend that I didn't know anything about Dune going into this movie, the first thing that should really be mentioned is the main reason why their technology in like the Dune itself, Dune itself as a movie has like this weird old school vibe to it, but it's also like obviously futuristic as fuck. But the technology, like for instance, when they're in the ornithopter, that shit is all manual, right? The main reason being is because in Dune history, they got rid of all AI technology. So any sort of robot that could think for itself, that includes like visual HUDs, displays, and stuff. Like obviously they do have those, but they're seemingly low tech. That's because they're man powered. There's mechanical features to them, but it's hard to explain. The machines cannot think for themselves. The main reason being is because there was this massive war. Like humanity built these thinking machines. The thinking machines waged war on humanity and nearly wiped them the fuck out. So in the Dune universe, they made a rule going forward, like, hey, no more artificial intelligence. You can no longer make a robot be able to think for itself. Fuck that. So in doing so, all the type of technology that involves very little, very little human action was wiped out. So all of those ships, like the Ornithopter, the Spacing Guild, which hasn't really been shown yet in this movie, or in this series, I guess. All of those things are more like manpower and mental stuff for humans. So that's why spice is really important, because spice enhances your mental awareness. It doesn't just give you the ability to sort of like fly through space. It also allows, like what Lady Jessica says to Paul about like the Bene Gesserit having this like prophecy that Paul is basically fulfilling. This person is a mind. So basically, what happens with Bene Gesserit when they're in the womb, the women, they like fully realize as a baby, they come to like full consciousness. They know who they are and they can talk to their past lives. So that's what Lady Jessica is. She's one of those. Paul is one of those as well, but they're all supposed to be female. Supposedly the Messiah is a male. It's kind of interesting because you have like this feminist counterpoint, but they still need a man. I don't know. That should go over pretty interesting. But so anyway, yeah, Paul is this dude, right? So Paul is this mythical hero that's supposedly going to unite against the Empire, the galactic imperial. Another person who wasn't shown in this movie, the Emperor. I don't even know who's cast to be playing. Let me see if that's out yet. Emperor Shaddam the fifth, fourth. I can't remember. Oh, it looks what? Mads Mikkelsen? No way. Mads Mikkelsen is playing fucking Emperor Shaddam? I don't see him listed on the thing. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting cast. I will say that every single person who was cast in this movie definitely nailed their part. But just sort of getting back on track here, after like they wipe out technology, I think the next thing people are kind of wondering, like, why the shit looks the way it does, is probably House Atreides, who's like, where's Paul come from, right? So for that, I'm actually going to share the lower page that I'm pulling this info from. All right, so hope y'all can see. Yeah, okay. All right, so basically, Paul Atreides, aka Muad'Dib Usul, the preacher, is a central character to the Dune series. He was born on the planet Caladan, which we saw at the beginning of the movie. It's the watery, wet world. As the son of Duke Leto Atreides the First, and his Bene Gesserit concubine. That's important because remember, he says to Lady Jessica, he says, "I should have married you," but they never got married. So Paul was born to Duke Leto the First, Jesuit concubine Lady Jessica. He was the older brother of Elia Atreides, who Lady Jessica is currently pregnant with now, which is, I think, in almost all of the Dune movies, like 1984, the fucking sci-fi miniseries, she always ends up having the baby. And then when she has Aaliyah, she is like fully aware, fully realized, and like she becomes like sort of a co-leader with Paul. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen in the next movie, but eventually. Basically, he married Bene Gesserit trained Irulan Carino, but did not produce an heir by her. With his Fremen concubine Chani, who we saw in the movie, and Irulan Carino is obviously the Emperor's daughter, because remember, Paul mentions that, like, look, he sent us here. We're gonna stay here on Arrakis, and he's got a bunch of daughters but no sons. So obviously he needs someone to marry his daughters off to. So that's what Luke ends up. Thinking of my son. That's what Paul ends up doing, is basically, sort of forcing the Emperor into allowing him to marry one of his daughters, because he's basically coming after the throne. It's very much like Game of Thrones in the sense that the backstabbing, the betrayal is all sort of a plot mixed in with the plot. With his Fremen concubine, well, this is kind of spoilers. So let's just talk, I guess, a little bit about House Atreides, if I can't pull that. Of course, yeah, there we go. So House Atreides was there's several different houses, obviously, in the story of Dune, but House Atreides specifically was one of the main was one of the houses major within the infrastructure of the galactic Padishah Empire. They were ruled by the patriarch of the Atreides family, who took the title of Duke. Now, the origins of House Atreides, this is pretty interesting, because apparently legend states that the Atreides family can trace their roots all the way back to ancient Greece on Earth. And that they rose to prominence during the Butlerian Jihad. Basically, this is a time period that is known as the Great Revolt, the 2 generations of chaos This is when the God machine, like this is when they were fighting the AIs. House Atreides specifically claimed descent from King Agamemnon, a son of Atreus in Greek mythology. The descendants of Atreus are called Atreides in the Greek language. The royal house included many significant figures in Greek myth. So the Greek geographic center of House Atreides, up until the latter days of Duke Leto Atreides I, obviously when they go to, when Duke, God damn it, when Paul's father takes them to Arrakis. This is what they're talking about. House Atreides maintained the planetary fief of Caladan and had their center of operation on that planet, which they then also ruled for 20 generations. House Atreides had perfected a form of government that resulted in a well-organized society and a spiritually satisfied people. Furthermore, House Atreides kept Caladan a lush, prosperous paradise with relatively low industrial levels, in stark contrast to House Harkonnen's capital on Giedi Prime. And we kind of see that, like you see the crazy parallels when we get to see House Harkonnen in the inner workings with the Baron, and then we also get to see at the very beginning of the movie the lush green landscape of Caladan. This also reflects the nature of their government. So Giedi Prime is dark, disturbing. The House Harkonnen, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they genetically manipulated their people to a point where like only the strong survive, whereas House Atreides is the opposite of that. They're green, lushful. They allow their people to prosper. They still maintain a kick-ass government, but it's different. It's not like how House Harkonnen does their shit on Giedi Prime. So let me see how many people are watching this. We got 10 people watching. Shout out to Lord Commander Rafa. What's up, my dude? Let's see. So I guess I could talk more about the movie because that's probably why most people. We'll talk about my favorite scenes from the movie. That's always a good one. Personally, to be honest, I thought I was gonna get to see specific scenes, and I'll tread lightly on spoilers because I know some people, when they made their reviews, they just said like what the fuck happens in the second half of Dune, and I don't think some people may or may not want to know that. So I'm just going to assume that they don't, and I'll just sort of try to tread lightly. But obviously, I would have to say when we first saw the sandworm, in my opinion, like it was kind of everything that I thought it would be, right? Like that's a big deal, is getting the scale of how massive these sandworms are, right? You can't just, you can say the size of something and you're like, oh, holy shit, that's big, but it's different when you actually visualize it. Maybe that's why people said you need to see it on IMAX, because you could actually see like the size of these sandworms. They're meant to be like terrifying and frightening. When you read about them in the book, it's something that really sucks you into this world. And that's what a lot of people are, that's like one of their most favorite things about the Dune world is the sandworms. I think another, and we've seen this in the trailer, was like what's in the box. When Paul sticks his hand with the Gom Jabbar, like when he's forced to stick his hand in that box. In the 1984 movie, Paul pulls his hand out and you see these fucking nasty boils and like disgusting, basically shit that happened to his hand, and then it disappears. In the movie, you don't really see that. And I think that was kind of just like they realized you don't necessarily need to know. You have Paul acting that, like you could sort of visualize what he's going through on his face. And I think I'd never seen or heard of Timothy Chalamet before this movie, but those kind of scenes sort of led me to believe, he could definitely carry this franchise. I didn't need to see what was in the box to know what the fuck was in the box. You know what I mean? Like he looked like he was being kicked in the nuts. Like it was a very believable face, but I'm saying like he was like cross-eyed and getting kicked in the nuts at the same time. It looked excruciatingly painful. And then when he allowed the pain to wash over him, that was also believable, because then he made eye contact with the Bene Gesserit witch. So that was cool. Those are probably my two favorite scenes. Obviously anything with the sandworms. And then the ending, that is a massive cliffhanger. Obviously, we knew that it would be some sort of cliffhanger. Everyone heard going into this movie that it was mostly just going to cover the first half of the book. But the fact that, like I said, this is not that spoilery, we didn't get to see them actually integrate into Fremen society. Lady Jessica and Paul, it's a little bit, I thought it would be cool if we could see them coming into their own and starting to get their powers, so it would set up the second one really well. The first one, it's a fucking perfect movie, right? It's one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. I watched it. It's fucking 2.5 hours, and I seen it twice in one day. So that says a lot, right? I also think that it's interesting. Well, I guess sort of relating to that cliffhanger. I'm mad, but then I'm also like, for people who don't know anything about Dune, that's kind of perfect because you allowed them just enough information to sort of understand what the world is about, but then also to leave them wanting so much more where they have to go online and either read the Dune book or look up videos. Personally, I recommend Ideas of Ice and Fire. Quinn has changed his channel a couple times now. It might be Quinn's Ideas, but he does like the best Dune content on YouTube. I definitely recommend anybody watching this video to go check out his shit. He's like an expert. I've tried to have him on for this fucking review thing, but I don't know. He's busy. But yeah, definitely check out Quinn's Ideas. I was going to take questions from the chat, but I'll obviously answer any questions down below in the comment section. I'll keep this video pretty short. I think we've been going for like 15 minutes now. As far as pacing, because like that was a big thing with the Blade Runner 2049 movie, and I had never seen the one from the fucking 80s, so I just decided to watch it because Denis Villeneuve was obviously directing this movie, and he's like an expert at visuals. So I just wanted to see what people's biggest complaints were about that movie, and I have to say that it fucking sucked. Blade Runner 2049 was terrible. It's a bunch of hallway walking, slow style, right? Stupid. Pacing was terrible. Not for this movie. All the way throughout, except for like maybe the last 20 minutes when we're building up to that fight, which I guess that's another thing I should talk about. So the fighting technique that they use, they developed this science dude developed this technology called a Holtzman shield, which basically blocks any bullets, right? So the only way they can fight now, because literally everyone has a Holtzman shield, is by slow moving blades. So you saw Duke Leto get shot in the fucking back with the projectile dart. It's because it was moving slow enough. That's why it took a while to get through the shield, but eventually it paralyzed him, shot him in the spine. And then I think the Mauler pistol or some shit is something that Paul steals from Jamis, like when when him and his mom sort of get the upper hand when the Fremen come out. Javier Bardem. I thought it was cool how everybody was allowed to do their own accent sometimes. When everybody's trying to do an English accent or when everyone's trying to do like a similar one, it sort of fucks it up. But like British people are allowed to do British accent, Americans allowed to do Americans. That was cool. Pacing, it was fucking amazing. Like I said, the last 20 minutes was a little bit off, but that's because it was a build up to the fight. And I kept checking. That's one thing that I do like about the movie theater. I fucking hate the experience entirely, but it forces you to not be able to check the little thing at the end to see how much is left of the movie. Because honestly, I can predict what's going to happen if I know exactly how much is going to left. And almost if I know exactly how much time is left in any movie, but I couldn't do that when I watch a movie in a movie theater, but since I was watching this at home, I could. So that might have been why my perception was off and it felt like it was a little bit longer because I was sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for the movie to end. I don't know. But so I guess what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Holtzman shield. So the way that they're fighting, the way that they do that, that's called the weirding way. So it's like it's a martial arts technique that looks like it's similar to Krav Maga, jiu-jitsu. It's a little bit weird how they don't just punch in the face. The fight with Jamis was a little bit, I mean, that's obviously how they had to do it. It's like a description from the book. That's one thing. This movie is like, you cannot complain about faithful adaptations. He literally did everything possible to make this movie exactly like how it was in the books and not be boring, right? So it's amazing movie, 10 out of 10 for sure. Like I said, it's in my top 5 films. The weirding way fighting style, they use that in order to slow move and penetrate the shield. And then also when they're actually in the desert of Arrakis, none of them use shields. When Paul's fighting Jamis, you'll notice he doesn't activate a shield or anything because they mention in the movie specifically the shields, the Holtzman shields, fuck up the sandworms like something, and they just go in a blood rage. I guess I could do light spoilers. This is like way down the line. I don't know if they're going to do it. I think in Children of Dune, they eventually try to take a sandworm off the planet because obviously they know the sandworms are the things that are making the spice. And when that happens, holy fucking shit, that is like one of the craziest moments. I don't know. Like 20 minutes in. Let's see. We discussed Paul. We discussed how Atreides. I guess we could talk about the Bene Gesserit. Yeah, let's do that. And then, well, I guess we could. Yeah. Okay. So let's do Bene Gesserit, House Harkonnen, and then that'll be it. Give me 1 second. All right. So the Bene Gesserit are a pseudo-religious organization of all women spies, nuns, scientists, and theologians who use genetic experimentation, galactic political interference, and religious engineering to further their own agenda of ascending the human race with the advent of their chosen one, the Kwisatz Haderach. What's interesting about this is sort of relating back to the movie is Duke Leto is talking with Jessica, and like he's sort of at his wits' ends. It's like right before a couple of scenes before he dies, and he's like, I allowed you to move in the shadows. Like he's basically saying, like, I didn't ask fucking questions when you were doing this. Are the Bene Gesserit going to protect myself? Well, he says, are they? And he's in Lady Jessica's like, yes, of course I'll protect our son. No, the Bene Gesserit. So this kind of tells you like their motivation is sort of unknown. They're allying with the Emperor. Obviously, the Reverend Mother did something to help out House Atreides when they get there, because obviously the Fremen are mentioning prophecy. They're yelling at Paul when they first arrive on the planet, but they're also aligned with Emperor Shaddam, and you'll see that in part 2. Their way of finagling the shit is very interesting. So I think one of the most important things about them is that the origins of the Bene Gesserit, they're so mysterious, they aren't even widely known. What is clear is that the Bene Gesserit arose into the political turmoil that followed the Butlerian Jihad. Remember, that's the war or jihad that, and there's another holy war coming. I think that's what jihad means. It's holy war. I don't know. But that's the same thing that House Atreides rose to power in on Caladan. So, that will be referenced heavily, I'm assuming. And quickly established themselves as an influential political force. However, during the Butlerian Jihad, the Bene Gesserit already had a Reverend Mother Superior, which seems to show that their hierarchical structure had already formed. The other memories that are made available to Reverend Mothers of the Bene Gesserit provided a wealth of knowledge that reaches far back into humanity's past, to the days when humans were bound to Earth. Some physical remnants, such as surviving paintings by Van Gogh, also support this connection and provide an anchor point to the distant past. So I think that's the big thing about Dune, is that humans have gone out and conquered all over the known universe. And I think Earth at this point, it's been so long since they've been back there, like 10,000 fucking years, it's lost. I think it's one of the big things is like people who have artifacts and artifices from Earth are, it's semblance of power. So basically my lighter here is probably a big deal in Dune. I'm just kidding. Maybe if I painted a picture of my lighter. So the primary objective of the Bene Gesserit was to attain further power and influence and help to direct humanity along a path of insight and instability. Up until the emergence of Leto Atreides II, the anticipated means of reaching this goal was through the Kwisatz Haderach, the one who can be all places at once. A male Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother Superior, a super being, and ultimately a Messiah, Space Jesus, to serve the Missionaria Protectiva, and the ultimate objective of their age-old breeding program. The triumph of their plan was supposed to occur when the daughter of Leto Atreides I bred with Fade Routha Harkonnen. So if you'll, I think, God, I don't know about lineage in this one, but I think the Baron Harkonnen ends up calling Duke Leto cousin. So they're related through House Harkonnen marrying into House Atreides at one point. Obviously, they're not that close. I will say that when Leto was laid out on the fucking chair naked, that was crazy. I was like, dude, what the fuck did they do to this guy? Like, he's so sick and twisted. Like, he's sitting there fucking eating. You've got a nice kitchen, cousin. Fucking wet mouth. Like, oh my God, that shit was Jesus. Stellan Skarsgård, whatever the fuck his name is. I know his last name is Skarsgård. Murdered it. Reflective Rambling says, I respect Dune. I read all the books by the original author, but I kept waiting to be really gripped by it, and it always just fell short. Didn't really go in any direction I was really invested in. Really? Really? That's kind of harsh. Not harsh, it's your opinion, but see, I haven't read all the Dune books. I listened to most of the first one on tape, and then I kind of just skimmed through this like like fan page. I like reading all this. But I maybe it's because I haven't read a lot of the books, and that's the thing that happened with. I noticed when I first started getting into the Game of Thrones fandom, the more I started reading about the books, the more I started reading the books, the more I started disliking the show a little bit, because the choices made in the original story just made me fall in love with the books. I mean, anybody that's read the books, watched the show can tell you that. Doesn't mean the show's terrible. It just means that, the source material, the original version of something is usually better, because the person who's creating that universe makes the best choices. I do agree here. Let me leave that up for a little bit. I do agree with the fact that it didn't feel like I didn't feel like I knew which direction it was going to go, but I think that was more so because he tried to take his time explaining the first half of the book so well. I think the director in general has a problem with pacing, but like I said, up until the last 20 minutes, I thought it was really good. I watched it twice, so I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I think once part 2 gets greenlit and it starts filming and we get to see some of the pictures of some of these other characters in costume, maybe that'll help. Maybe Denis Villeneuve will listen to the fans online and sort of add stuff to the second one for that. People were saying that this has the potential to be a sci-fi version of Lord of the Rings. Like, obviously it's not like Lord of the Rings really, like in any way, in some ways, in thematic elements, but it's supposed to be sci-fi's version of that, like to have, massive following. These films make the careers of the actors. I think it definitely has the potential to do that. I think the problem is maybe the wait for the movie too. Kind of, I don't know. It's hard to, I don't know. You make some good points. Oh, holy shit. Damn. Thank you. That's my first super chat. Wow. Holy shit. Thank you. Super sticker. Thank you for that. That's awesome. June's cousin Ben says the Baron and Reverend Mother are Jessica's parents. Why did he call Paul cousin then? Wouldn't that be his nephew? Or why did he call Duke Leto cousin? Toka says, how many pages, how many books? I'm interested. I've never read. Hang on. Let me pull that up. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. Oh. I don't know why I was stuck looking on the wiki page. Okay, so let's do this. There's Dune, 1965. 4 years later, there's Dune Messiah, then Children of Dune, then God Emperor of Dune, then Heretics of Dune, then Chapter House Dune, then Hunters of Dune, Sandworms. But not all of these are written by Frank Herbert. It looks like Hunters of Dune is where Frank's son takes over. As far as how many pages, I don't think the first book has too many. 444. So that's like solid third of a Game of Thrones book. World West Fire. Nah. Some people, I will say this. Some people say that the Dune book itself, towards the end, falls off, is bad. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people say that. I don't personally think that. I think the audio book is pretty good. But yeah, there's a lot of people that do say that. Oh, wait. Wait, were you saying the Dune books? I am such an idiot. I see something and I just fucking jump on it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what they mean. That's exactly what they mean. That's not what you mean. You meant the Dune series. Okay, so you haven't seen the movie yet then? So I'm trying to figure out how to make your point link to the movie. And I'm like, oh, I don't get it. It was gripping. It was very gripping. I was like, oh man, I'm such an idiot. Jesus. uh yes, this is what I was saying. A lot of people already consider it to be the sci-fi Lord of the Rings and influence. Fuck yeah, it's the science fiction Bible. I saw it on Sunday. The movie looked great. Awesome. I saw it today. I didn't realize that it had leaked online several days ago. Miss your GOT reviews, man. Always made my day. Well, I have never stopped making videos. I've made over 100 this year so far, I think. Yeah, pretty sure I've made it at least 70 or 75. So, and then also all of my old videos are still there too. So, and then when House of the Dragon comes out, I do like 2 House of the Dragon videos a day. Some of them I don't upload. Some of them are like backlogged for next week and shit. But Song of Ice and Fire is my motherfucking jam. Get Sick says, you guys actually liked it? Hell yeah, Dune is the shit. The movie was fucking awesome. I have literally no complaints except for like the last 20 minutes of it, and that's because the fight that he has with Jamis is like, it's built up. It's supposed to be. I will say I haven't seen a movie that good in a while. A movie that I feel like I know some of the source material. Do I feel like I know as much of it as Game of Thrones? Fuck no. I feel like I am somewhat of a scholar in the Game of Thrones TV show and books, but in Dune, not so much. And because I didn't feel lost at any point, I think most people, if you're into sci-fi, that's why I said like this, they made it for Dune fans. Dune is very specific fandom, but if you're into that shit, this movie's perfect for you because you need to know a little bit, like basically what I explained in this video, and that's that in Dune history, they made these thinking machines. These thinking machines waged war with humanity, nearly wiped them out. And then after we won that war, we decided no more AI. Everything's got to be manually powered. Everything's got to be about your own mental prowess. So we find this drug, spice, also known as phalange, and it's meant to enhance your mental acuity. So you're just super fucking smart. You can do super fucking smart things, right? So you can travel through space. Muad'Dib or Paul Atreides, he can link time and space. That's what the whole point of the Bene Gesserit is. Their whole society is about making sure that they can carry on a future for mankind. And one of the ways to do that is by looking towards the future and towards the past and, finding the best path. This movie was book accurate. Fuck yeah. Oh no. It's on HBO Max. It's on HBO Max. I don't know if you have HBO Max, but it is on there. And also the torrent. I can drop a link down in the chat right now. There's the torrent site has the fucking 4K version. If you want to watch that. But definitely wait to see it in theater. I've seen both movies, 80s and this last one. Yeah, the Dune 1984, it successfully made me interested in the Dune universe. I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the best Dune creator on YouTube, I think, is Quinn's Ideas. Go watch his videos if you really want to delve into this universe. But I watched some of his videos. I'm like, what the fuck is this doing? This shit sounds crazy. You got this drug that makes you super smart, but also psychoactive, and you can see shit. What is this? And then also there's great houses that are backstabbing and betraying each other. Right up my fucking alley. So then I watched Dune 1984, and I was like, This movie is weird as shit. I have so many questions. Mainly, what the fuck did I just watch? But I was enthralled in the universe, and I started making videos on it. And here we are. Quality didn't miss a beat. No, torrents. No, it won't get me into trouble. Someone else did it. I didn't upload it to the torrent site. Here, I'll just drop just the torrent site that I use. One of them that I use in the chat. You can't download this unless you have a obviously something like Qubit torrent. I use uTorrent. You need a downloader first, but don't as a matter of fact, don't even click on that. I'm removing that comment. Why the fuck did I just do that? I can block myself. Why the fuck would I do that? I can put myself in a timeout too. I'm just gonna go to my channel and remove the comment from the chat. Yeah, don't click on that link. I didn't mean to do that. But if you did, that's where you can get that's where you can get that. I don't know if you clicked on it though. So just sort of well, I didn't mean to share that. I meant to share the trailer. Where the fuck did the trailer go? Oh, well, didn't mean to share this fucking this jerk off. The hell? Yeah, I was in the middle of watching. Actually, that was an interesting one. Bartol Elmore is, I don't know, what a weird fucking name, but that was actually really interesting. Dune trailer, where are you? I thought I had the window open. Guess I didn't. Yeah, most of his shit, Joe Rogan's podcast has been bullshit political stuff. I can't stand that. Anybody that talks about politics, go suck a dick. I'm so over that. Unless the world is burning, I don't want to hear about it. I got kids to raise, man. Fucking nonsense. I hate the news. How you going to talk about something but then complain about that's the only thing that people talk about? You not realize you're the biggest proponent of cancel culture by talking about all the time? You fucking moron. Quit talking about COVID too, dumbass. Mask up. Get the vaccine. Don't be stupid. I'm just kidding. All right. Nah, for real. You shouldn't be telling people medical advice. This guy fucking sticks needles filled with ape sperm in his dick, in his butt, up in his where you take steroid shots at, and he's telling people not to get a vaccine because it could be dangerous. Like, how about you calm the fuck down, bro? Jesus Christ. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. He just needs to shut the fuck up about COVID. COVID ruined that motherfucker. Like it literally did. Stop talking about it. I don't know if anybody who watches that knows him and is watching this. Tell him to stop talking about that shit. I can't fucking stand it. But no, that episode that I was watching earlier is interesting because this dude's about Monsanto or something. What did I want to? Okay, last thing. Wait, aren't you a mod? Didn't I make you a mod? Oh, is it because I is it because I typed it? Probably because I typed it. Oh yeah, that's true. But it throws it off because he literally said cousin. Like, was he just saying like your kitchen's good, cousin? Like just cousin? Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. Let's look up the lore. Let's see. Who is Lady Jessica's parents? I thought it was. I know she's Harkonnen, but I didn't think it was the Duke. Oh. Oops. Oh. Interesting. It is Vladimir Harkonnen. And doesn't he end up betraying? Like, there's a betrayal that happens with his little sister in Harkonnen in the what you call it. I can't even remember, but that's spoilers. Let me not talk about that. Thank you. Thank you. It's always good to hear. What up, my dude? My boy Muhammad be leaving like 15 comments because he knows that really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Hey. No problem, though. You can go back and watch. They are all inbred. It's the plan of the Bene Gesserit. Oh, so he's like not just his wife's dad, but also it's his cousin. Let's do this. And I'm gonna try to keep this under an hour because I think it helps people that want to watch, like, to get my opinion on stuff. It helps them find it easier. If someone wants to timestamp this below, please. I'm asking you to do my work for me. I just never have time to do that. I always go back and watch and I forget. Like as soon as I finish this, I gotta go downstairs and make some dinner. Baron Vladimir Harkonnen was the penultimate ruler of House Harkonnen and the chief architect in the demise of Duke Leto Atreides of House Atreides during the latter part of the reign of Shaddam V. Baron Vladimir Harkonnen was originally a tall, muscular man with red gold hair. That's one thing that the 1984 Dune did, was give them all red hair. They're all fucking bald, but I think Sting had the red hair, and the person who played his brother had the red hair. We haven't seen Sting's character yet. He's supposed to make an appearance in the next one. But it'll be interesting to see who's cast as him, because Batista is the other dude, and Batista is my motherfucking nigga. Baron Vladimir Harkonnen was originally a tall, muscular man with red golden hair, distinctive widow's peak. Later, he was so fat. He was such a fatty. He was so morbidly obese that he required suspensors, which the 1984 Dune suspensors were. That's okay. So the new suspensors that I don't feel like pulling up a picture of it because I'll get sidetracked. But the new ones are more accurate to the book, I think, but they're not as weird. Like, he's supposed to levitate and float because he's so fat he can't walk around, right? Also, the Saru Dakar, they have the same type of technology, which is why they just kind of float down like that. But what was I about to say? The 1984 version one, because it was so weird, it was scarier, right? So it in my opinion, maybe it was the weed. In my opinion, it just seemed way more eerie, which I think is more book accurate. Even though the movie version was more book accurate as far as description, the 1984 version was a little bit weirder because he's kind of just like, I don't know. That was but let's see. Does it have like a lineage? Does it have like who his kids are? I believe you, and I know that. I just looked it up. I just wanted to see like a tree to see how inbred they are, because Game of Thrones kind of takes the cake with inbred, i.e. the Targaryen banner, or the Targaryen. Look at the Targaryen tree. So no. It just okay. Dude, list is whatever. Oh wow, this is a scary looking motherfucker. This is from the 2000 miniseries. I'm gonna tell my kids this was Joe Rogan. He's in a pool of ivermectin. Hey, you want to know something funny? They keep saying it's not horse dewormer. I looked at my dog's HeartGuard medicine, and then underneath that, it said ivermectin. It said some words after it, but it definitely said ivermectin. So CNN is full of shit. Fox News is full of shit, but it is dewormer for animals. It's my dog. My dog takes that. You're taking dog medicine. Anyway, goddamn, what a scary looking motherfucker, dude. If I had to guess, well, okay, so inbred, I kind of knew that. They were perfecting. I said they did a little bit of genealogical testing. Hey, according to the Bible, Noah's daughter got him drunk to The Bible is fucking wild. The Bible is the best fantasy book ever. It really is. I'm just kidding. Look up the sisterhood. All right. I just had the Bene Gesserit up. Hang on. I'm looking to see where it says. Okay, here we go. However, their plans were thrown into turmoil by Jessica Atreides, Lady Jessica, Paul's mother. When she consciously gave Lady Atreides a son instead of a daughter, Paul was assumed. Wait, this isn't the part that I was looking at. We're trying to look up Jessica's parentage. Oh, was the official concubine of Emperor. She was also. Interesting. So it's not like an official thing. It's kind of like a illegitimate. But according to the Bene Gesserit breeding charts, they note that Jessica's birth mother was Tanidia Neris. Due to this, prior to becoming Leto's concubine, she was probably referred to as Jessica Neris in Bene Gesserit records, as opposed to Jessica Mohaim or Jessica Harkonnen, which was top secret information, and her lineage remained a secret according to the Bene Gesserit. So y'all just revealed some spoilers. Spoilers. Pet supply stores are making people show them pics of them with the horse. What? No, I promise it's for my horse. I don't know why I did a Spanish accent. What the fuck was that? It's for my horse. Here's a picture. Like, that's fucking hilarious. Oh man. Whatever. Do I still have my Mustang? That pains me to even see that. No. I mean, it's sitting in my driveway. Yes, I still have it. Does it work? No. It is. I'm probably gonna have to replace the engine. That's why I keep saying retarded so much, because that car cost. I put so much into that fucking thing, not just money, but just time and energy. And then the code it's throwing right now is telling me that the timing of my engine is over retarded. So that means I need to fuck with the timing chain, which probably leads to replacing the engine, because the mods that I put on it weren't, even though they said, hey, full bolt on, you don't need to do anything else to your car. You just add the mods to it. Even though that's what I did, I shouldn't have did that. So give it some ivermectin. I'll just pour it all over it. Give it some horse dewormer. My car will no longer have worms, and I'll be able to drive it again. All good. All right, let's get back on track here. Jesus. So in 10, I'll just go through a little bit more of this, and then I'll get out of here. I think I covered my favorite parts of the movie, the pacing, the plot, the ending, what I think is going to happen in part 2. So the Fremen of Arrakis were encouraged by Jessica's arrival for 2 reasons. So this just sort of goes into more detail of what the Reverend Mother actually did when she says, I'll do what I can to prepare for your arrival on Arrakis. Firstly, their own Reverend Mother, Ramallah, was old and near death. With Ramallah's training, Jessica was the perfect choice to replace her. Secondly, the coming of the Fremen Messiah was foretold many eons prior through Bene Gesserit mechanisms, and that he was to be born of a Bene Gesserit. Despite knowing the repercussions of becoming a full-fledged Reverend Mother, Jessica undertook the process of ingesting the toxic liquid of a young sandworm to produce the water of life. This act not only elevated her to Reverend Mother status, but also fundamentally changed the fetus she was carrying, causing abomination in her daughter, Aaliyah. So this is Paul's sister, and this is, I think, part of what plays into maybe part. I don't know if we'll get to that in part 2. No, I'm not doing the next part because that is straight up spoilers. All right, so I'll just talk with y'all for a little bit more. Let's trailer one in the background. If I had to pick a favorite character, buy a new engine for the Mustang. What? What? I make $100 a week on YouTube, and all of that money goes right back into literally what? Whatever. And that was Muhammad that said that. What, dude? No, do you know? Oh my God. What, dude? I've never been that upset from a comment. And I'm fine. I'm not mad at the person who said that, but I'm just saying that's such a crazy thing to say. Yeah, I'll just buy a new engine. I'll just throw a new engine in there. That's more than that's like $4,000. And then another 2 to put it in because I don't have none of the shit here to do it. So it's definitely going to a shop to do that. All right, well, I'm going to get out of here. I will say my favorite character is obviously Duncan Idaho and Paul, Lady Jessica Chaney. The armor that Paul's Legion is going to get is fucking dope. Looked amazing. Probably the best visuals, some of the best out of the whole movie, where he flips over the fighters when he has that vision of him like seeing what it's going to be like to rule. That was fucking dope. I will say that I want a Chris knife. I want someone to make me one. If someone wants to do that, please. Yeah, it's fucking I think I can say what happens with Duncan because like he died. He ends up coming back. I guess I won't say how, but he ends up coming back. It'll be interesting to see which part he comes back in. I'm trying to think of how the fuck Lord of the Rings, the first one, ended. It did end on a cliffhanger, but there was more to the ending of the first one. I think it's already been greenlit. It just hasn't been publicly announced. They're fucking fools. Like Warner Brothers, come on. You have sci-fi, you have fantasy. You're dominating both markets. House of the Dragon, Dune, baby. Rah! Like, what the fuck? And then obviously Lord of the Rings will be on Amazon next year. Wheel of Time comes out in November, right? And then there's also something else coming. Oh, the trailer before fucking Dune. My shit, Raised by Wolves. I broke down almost every episode of that fucking show. And if I didn't, I wanted to. I broke down at least 3 or 4 episodes. That fucking show is the shit. If you like Alien, if you like anything that what's the guy's name? Ridley Scott. If you like anything that he's done, that is the show for you. It's such a good show. It's crazy. It came out of nowhere. Yeah, you're right. I double check. I will be double checking every single time. Oh no, it's all good, man. I just, like I said, it's all good. I didn't mean to direct that towards you. It's just, I don't know. I've never had something push my buttons like that. But like I said, it's all good. I'm not mad at you. I'm just, that comment just caught me off guard. It's like, what? You should buy a new engine. It's actually really funny. If it was meant as a troll comment, you fucking got me. You really got me. You really got me. No. I mean, cheaper, it depends, like, to people who make a lot of money, that's probably not that expensive. But I like I said, I'm lucky if I make $100 a week off of YouTube. And it's not like I'm not barely uploading. I upload every day. And even with everyday uploads, it's still that. It doesn't matter though. All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'll just do a quick little summary of my thoughts for the movie. Dune was fucking amazing. I thought that the last 20 minutes was the only part that suffered from pacing problems. The very end of the movie was a cliffhanger, yes, but that's because they're setting you up for part 2. I do think that they should have been acclimated into Fremen society. I would have liked Lady Jessica and Paul to start getting their powers. Obviously, Paul did. Obviously, Lady Jessica does, but they have these certain powers and abilities that really become apparent And I'm thinking that's going to be in part 2. Also, speaking of part 2, I do think that has already been greenlit. I just think it hasn't been publicly announced yet. And then my favorite characters, Duncan Idaho, Paul, Lady Jessica, Chani. Chani didn't come in until the end of the movie. I'm a big Zendaya fan, but she really didn't come into like the last 20, 30 minutes. Like, she's obviously in the flashback, but I think with the characters we got to see the most screen time from. I thought I would like Gurney Halleck a little bit more. I feel like he was kind of underutilized a little bit, if I had to say that. Or I guess if I had to say something negative about that, I will say that the weirding way in the Holtzman shields and just the look and feel of this movie in general, because remember, all AI technology is removed. There's no free thinking machines. They nailed it. They nailed it perfectly. It's interesting to see modern sci-fi movies have interiors of ornithopters look like that. Like, it kind of looked like they were flying a regular helicopter, and it's all because it's lower technology. It's all manual buttons, switches. There's no big screen interface because that would involve some sort of AI. So, but I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please, and you enjoyed this review, please slap a like on it. More Dune videos to come. Obviously, I'm going to do a proper breakdown, probably a scene by scene breakdown. That'll be out in the next couple of days, maybe in the next week or so. But I want to thank you all so much for watching. Shout out to every single person in the chat. My name is Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews. Fear is the Mind Killer. Oh, damn it. Wait. Fear is the Mind Killer.